Guys, I interviewed Cas Anvar and Wes Chatham. So they play Alex and Amos in The Expanse. It was really hard not to get lost in their eyes. It was a beautiful moment. Check it out.
So, Amos is not going to want a lot of people. He doesn't seem to have had as big a conflict with Alex. Why do you think that is? Is it just that he's not...
Wait to season 2.
We're talking about season 1.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because so there's a novella called The Churn that's part of The Expanse. It's my favorite book of the Expanse series, and really goes into how Amos how he was brought up, the relationships that he had to his this mother figure plus lover situation that he had. And so, you know, he's been traumatized.
You said I'm inappropriate with my ship?
Yeah. Well, she's not a blood mother,
okay, all right.
but she's kind of operates that position. So it is, you know, it can get a little weird. But anyway, so he's suffered so much trauma, and it's really affected his growth at a point that he doesn't really know how to communicate with people. He doesn't really have the empathy. And that's why his relationship with Naomi is so essential to him, because she is the thing that helps him navigate the world. In season 2, the dynamic of their relationship is challenged, and you get to really see who Amos is without Naomi in his life and why he needs that relationship. And Alex is a symptom of that. Of the absence of her in there, so
yeah. But it's a good observation, because Alex and Amos, especially in season 1, both of us are kind of isolated. We kind of isolate ourselves. We're both misfits. You know, for whatever. As much as Naomi and Holden have their own baggage and their own trauma and their own damage, they're still pretty functional human beings. They're still able to kind of bond emotionally to each other and to other people. Amos clearly has problems in that area, and Alex has isolated himself completely. He does not deal with people. His relationship is with the ships. That's where he has love. And I think because of that similarity, Amos and Alex find themselves at the same bar all the time, getting a drink and shooting the shit. And we come at the world from completely different perspectives. You couldn't find two more different people, because Alex is a family man, and he's very much an optimist, and he believes in people and the good thing, and, you know, love triumphs all kind of guy. And Amos is kind of like lives the churn. About every 7 years, the world destroys itself. He's a survivor. It's like kill or be killed. And yet we get along and we talk and we actually understand each other and help each other. And in that relationship, which we build in season 1, basically in season 2, it escalates to a point because of what he's going through and the kind of baggage that he's trying to deal with. It escalates quite dramatically and quite quickly throughout the season, so it's an exciting journey.
Excited to see it.
Yeah.
So, what's been your favorite part of both your characters' development from season 1 to season 2?
What's your favorite part? I think for me, Alex has quite a big growth, because he starts off as basically just a truck driver. He's like a nice hauler truck driver. He's isolated. I mean, even it represents itself in the way he looks. Like, he's wearing his beanie and he's all scruffed up and he's all dirty and grungy, and he really, he does not have relationships. He has no love interest. He has really no friends when he's back on the Canterbury. And then we get put into a life and death situation, and he is forced to realize his true potential, which he never was able to do as a pilot. And he realizes he has those skills and he has that confidence and he has that ability, and everyone is counting on him, and that pressure cooker that he's put in, kind of like a lump of coal being pressed by the earth, turns into a diamond. And we get to watch Alex become gradually what his potential is, which is a brave, skilled pilot worthy of the friendship of the family that he's been put into. And that's really a rewarding journey, and it doesn't end in season 2. It's all a process. But season 2, we really get to see what Alex becomes, the glue that keeps the family together. He becomes kind of like the old uncle or the big brother that tries to keep everyone not fighting and talking to each other and sitting around the table.
I think with Amos, again, like what I said earlier about his relationship to Naomi and how he gets challenged, because in a lot of ways he looks to Naomi to make decisions for him and choices for him. Well, in this season, he's forced to make choices for himself, and he starts to be more active. Now, sometimes people die as a consequence of that, but he is really starting to try to navigate the world for himself and kind of stand on his own 2 feet.
And Wes, your grasp of your character, the producer was telling us, is what got you the job. And it's funny because when I read the books I read the first book and then I watched the first season, and you understood the character a lot more than I did, because you completely helped me understand more of like what your character was going through. Did you read the books prior to, or was that just going off of the script? And is it because you relate to the character? Like, how did you? I don't know. Like, you're fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
you're
you so
awesome.
much.
Like,
you know, again, it goes back to the churn. So I did read the books, and he felt different to me in the books, and even in the initial pilot script, than he did in the churn. To me, the churn was fascinating. You know, he kind of got to a place, you know, in the pilot where he was, he has a bravado to him. He had a sense of humor that was the sarcasm type sympathy. But that wasn't interesting to me. What was interesting is who he was in the churn. And it's a damaged person who's trying to connect with the world. And to me, that's something I've never seen before, and it's surprising. And he's surprising the way he turns that. So I knew going in, and we had a lot of talks about it, and I was very forceful to continue on that journey. And well, it's been a really collaborative situation, and we all worked together to make it happen. But I knew that people would say, okay, that I know who this guy is, and I know what his part is. But when you really get to know him, it's surprising on all different. He doesn't move in the way you would expect him to move. And in the second season, you really get a sense underneath of who he really is. And I think it's going to be in a way that people aren't going to expect.
And I think the same thing happens with your character as well, because at the end of your season, you know, we kind of think we understand your character, and then at the end of your season, we see that picture of your family. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that gives you more range of emotion that you get to display in the next season, and that we're going to get to know?
I mean, I think Alex definitely, his family is a huge part of his backstory. It's a huge part of his identity. It's a huge part of his challenge too, because Alex doesn't know who he is really. He doesn't know if he's a Martian or a family man or a husband or a father or a pilot or a friend. He doesn't know. He really doesn't know who he is until he gets put behind the seat of the Rocinante. That's when his identity all of a sudden comes into a crystallization. He realizes this is what I'm meant to do, and that only happens, you know, like well into his life. So now he spends a few months trying to figure out who he is after having lived for so long. Oh, okay. Absolutely. So yeah, his family is a huge part of what you're going to see happen in season 2. Yeah, there's a big arc.
And I think that's kind of what, like you were saying, he becomes like the uncle of the crew. And
yeah.
It's kind of, he's able to express that part of him to the crew.
He's the only one that has any family life, really. Like everyone else is coming from a very traumatized and damaged background, but Alex actually had a normal, everyday, casual life compared to the rest. So he kind of is that calming perspective. So.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.